Hello and good evening, everyone, and good night. Welcome to another episode of UIC Liberty TV Live. This is Joseph Patterson, President of UIC Jamaica. And this evening, I have my wife with me, Charlotte Patterson, who is celebrating her 51st birthday anniversary, which was yesterday. So she's on set with me tonight. We're just going to have a general chat. I am here to answer any questions you may have. We're here to answer any questions you may have on anything. There are lots of stuff happening here in Jamaica and around the world. So we're coming to you live from St. Elizabeth, in our home here in St. Elizabeth. And as I do from time to time, I like to come on and just talk with you, just share with you what's on my mind. See, Craig is saying hi, Anne. He calls you Anne
Hi,
because he
Greg.
knows because he knows your pet name. And so, hi, Craig. Good to see you on, Craig McKenzie. By the way, for those of you out there who don't know, Craig McKenzie is the first treasurer of the UIC back in the early days when we started in 2013 and 2014. So good to see you, Craig. I also see Latoya Wolf, an old, long-time member of the UIC as well. Of course, Latoya is not old; she's a young lady, but she has been a member of the UIC for a very long time. I see Mr. Owen Rowe. Good night, Mr. Rowe. Good to see you on as well. Dolores Brown, Andrew Goldburn. Greetings again, Craig. Colleen Davis, Yolande, Natalie, good to see you all. It's a pleasure. So tonight we're going to have a really nice discussion. I love to hear from you. I love to hear your questions, and I love to answer them because that is the only way that you can really get to understand me, understand the UIC, and be sure that you are comfortable with working with us because we need your help. The UIC is a very unique political party in that we're more a movement than a party. And that's why we call ourselves a Congress. And unlike other political movements or political parties in particular, we depend on our members for donations to survive. We don't take money from big corporations because we don't want to be controlled by them. We want to continue to represent you. So good night again, everyone, and welcome, welcome, welcome to all of you. You want to say anything, Mrs. Patterson?
I just want to say hello to everybody,
Yeah,
those I don't know yet, and those who I know. Like, hi again, Craig. Pleasure to see you. And I look forward to a very stimulating discussion tonight.
excellent. Thank you. I see Maroon X on as well. Good to see you, Maroon. Steve Lynn, thank you for all those wonderful posts you do on the UIC Jamaica group uh, on Facebook. I love to read your posts. They're very nice. So good night, everyone, and thank you so much for being with us. Uh, as you all know, Jamaica is going through a very challenging time, and not just Jamaica, but people all around the world. We're suffering from this near 2 years of um, uh, disease that has, created a lot of stress and tension in our lives, in our communities, in our country, in our families. There are many families right now who are actually suffering because there are children who can't go to school, can't be in face-to-face classes. They're suffering from the social decline, the learning decline. We Many children are suffering from even the anxiety in the home. So you have child abuse, you have a rise in child pregnancies. So there are really a lot of challenges going on inside the home, the tensions in the home, husbands and wife, divorce rates are up. Children are struggling to learn. Parents are struggling to cope. You have parents who are losing their jobs. They're under a lot of pressure because some employers have taken the unscrupulous position of forcing employees to take a substance that the employee may not want to take. So there's lots of stress in our homes, a lot of problems. And I really wish there's something we could just do about it and stop it. But it's not so easy because our government has lost touch with us. Our government has become the agent of other people. So you have a government that's working for big pharmaceutical companies, that's working for big business, that's working for big data. And so, as a people, we don't have anybody working for us. Here in Jamaica, we have the UIC, but of course, we're not elected. So, we are working from the outside, trying to put pressure on the government to stop them from being so cruel and inhumane, and to encourage them to really start looking out for Jamaicans, especially for the small man, because most of what is done is damaging the small man, the small business, the micro operators, because they don't have the financial resources to do whatever you know they need to do to kind of survive. So it's really difficult.
Financial resources as well as the knowledge,
Right.
the know-how
Yeah.
to deal with them. So
So no the financial resources and also the knowledge, missing ingredients. Good point. So again, welcome everyone, and thank you so much for being here. Tonight, I just want to talk with you. I want to get your questions that you might have, or even your thoughts, ideas you want to share. You might have seen where I posted recently the All Are Welcome campaign that we're undertaking. And this campaign is really very simple. It is to tell employers, companies, hotels, restaurants to just put a sign in their door, in their window, to say all are welcome. And by saying that, it means that they're not supporting the medical apartheid system that the government is trying to bring in, to say if you don't take the so-called that substance that I call the joke, if you don't take the joke, then you can't enter their establishment. So we want all the companies that do not support that to put a sign in their door to say all are welcome. Now, companies that don't share that position, who don't want us to come to their establishment, don't need to put up that sign. And so we, the people, will know who the companies are that are not engaging in medical apartheid, and we will bring our money to them. So whether it's a bank or a restaurant or a hotel or a retail or a wholesale, a barber shop, a hair salon, whatever it is, put a sign in your window and say, all are welcome, and then say no to medical apartheid and yes to my body, my choice. And by putting that up, you're sending a clear message that you do not support this kind of tyranny, medical tyranny, on the people. You might be saying, why is the UIC so fixated on this subject? It is the number one subject. It's the most important issue before us right now because it affects everything else. It affects your health. It affects your life. It affects your ability to socialize. It affects your movement. It affects your economy. It affects your future. And so we're fighting for a future where your individual sovereignty is protected. Very important. Your individual, you are a sovereign creation. You're a sovereign entity. You're a sovereign person. And no government, no group, no matter how big and powerful they may think they are, no matter how rich they may think they are, they have no right to violate your person. They have no right to force you to take any form of medication or gene therapy or whatever it is. So tonight, I welcome your questions, I welcome your thoughts, I welcome your suggestions as we move forward. Question: what do you think of Damian Crawford? I think somebody asked. I think Damian Crawford is a lovely fellow. He advocates for the poor. Of course, I may not agree with all of his suggestions, but he's a very intelligent fellow, a very brilliant fellow. I like him a lot, actually. I wish that he would, make up his mind and leave the PNP and join us, because the truth is Jamaica is tired of the partisan tribal system. And we've had 77 years now of experience with the two, and we see what we get for that. And I think he really means well. I think he wants to do what is right. But you can't stay in the wrong group and do what is right. You can't be a member of a gang and be a member of the sainthood as well, right? You have to leave one and join the other, right? So if you want to do what's right, Damien, if you want to make a big impact and a big difference in the lives of Jamaicans, you have to leave the BNP and you have to join the JLP. And I say the same thing to my friends in the JLP. Anyone who recognizes that they are in an organization which does not represent and stand for the Jamaican people, it's time for you to leave and make that very clear and cross over to the UIC and help us unite Jamaicans. What I love about the UIC is that we're a unifying force. We unite people from
Everywhere.
everywhere. So Christians, non-Christians, Rastafarians, who else? Muslims. Uh, so anybody, we believe in unity. We believe in united. We don't believe in fighting and tearing each other down. We must get rid of the crab in a barrel mentality. We must get rid of the tribal politics mentality and become a united force. So we welcome Damian Crawford if he wants to come. We welcome uh, anybody from any of the other parties that wants to join us, as long as they embrace what we stand for, which is the sovereignty of the individual. We believe in protecting the rights of every Jamaican to their life, their liberty, and their property, free from government force or fraud. So that would include, of course, medication. The government not be in a position to force medicate us. Huh? Good. Somebody says we're getting close to 100 viewers. Keep sharing, everyone. Yeah, please, everybody, please share, 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 and let's get everyone in and let's have a good conversation. About this. I see. Let me see if I can pick up another question here. JLP and PNP are dropping off the people long time. I think the person meant ripping off. Yes. Uh, every Jamaican will miss that. Can you help me with some questions I had? What else do we have here? Oh, by the way, I saw Damian Crawford on an Unstoppable video recently. It was exceptional. It was great. I loved his story, and his background and stuff like that. His policies are a bit off. Yeah, they make sense on the surface, but some of the policies, from an economic standpoint, just won't stand up properly. But good intentions nonetheless. Let me see if I can pick another
Here's one
question.
that says,
Mhm.
oh, it's gone.
Do
They were
you think
asking if you think anti-homeless will call an emergency
an emergency election it was,
or
or?
something, forced vaccine, something like that.
Oh, well, I'm sure that the Prime Minister plans to mandate the vaccine, right? I don't want to say vaccine. Mandate the joke. I know the Prime Minister wants to mandate the joke. There's no doubt. That has been his intention from day one, which means he has been lying to us. He lied to us before to tell us that he didn't plan to do that, or that he's not going to do that, or that he's not thinking about that yet. But he's a very cunning fellow. I mean, mind you, the Prime Minister, he's a very bright boy. He's very smart in terms of evil. So he knows how to plan and he knows how to try to gradually move us in a particular direction. And so there's no doubt that the plan is to mandate the injection. Now, a mandate doesn't mean he goes about it the straightforward way. He has a history. You've seen it. He has a history of trying to manipulate. So it doesn't mean he will come straight out and say, I fully mandate. He may not do that. He may go through the back door. For example, one of the backdoor ways of mandating the joke is by simply having employers do the evil deeds for him. So by having more and more employers, especially big employers in Jamaica, say you can't come to work unless you take the joke or get tested at your expense. That's a mandate. By saying children cannot go to face classes unless they get the joke, that's a mandate. So we're already operating under a mandate, right? And the Prime Minister himself also kept us on the severe lockdown for a very long period in order to force us into taking the joke. So that too is a mandate. So let's not be caught up on the semantics, and thinking that we're not mandated. Can you help with some of those questions? I'm not. You probably
Well,
can
somebody
jot
was
down
asking
some.
if you attempted to have a conversation with Mr. Holmes.
Okay, so the question is, did I attempt to have a conversation with the Prime Minister? Yes, we wrote him a long letter with a long list of questions which any Jamaican would want to receive an answer to. Questions about the efficacy of the joke, questions about the testing method used to identify whether somebody has the disease or not, questions about the funding model that's being used, questions about the sustainability of the efforts, questions about the impact on our students, questions about the impact on our society. And I would let you know that the Prime Minister did not return my call, or not a call, but he did not reply to our letter, which were sent out back in January. Some of you might have known that when this thing just started in February, March of 2020, that the UIC put out a clear plan of action. We encouraged the Prime Minister not to make this political, but rather to have a very objective, transparent, and inclusive process that would include a what we call an emergency council, like you're having a war. And so that way, you make sure it's not political. You have all the political parties around the table. You get the best and brightest minds, and you make sure that all the information is transparent, and so the people can have confidence in the process. But he did not do that. Yeah. Any other questions?
Talk about somebody wanted to know if you're against the vaccine, so you can
Ah,
elaborate on that.
right. So some of you want to know if I'm against the joke. Uh, no, I am not against any particular medication at all. I believe it's good for us to have science and scientists creating uh, medications of all types to help us deal with all forms of diseases, no matter what they are. What I am against is the covert and tyrannical and deceptive and coercive approach that has been taken with this particular substance, where governments around the world, including the government of Jamaica, has become a glorified salesman and enforcer for pharmaceutical companies to push one particular set of medication on people. I think that is wrong. It is unethical. It is dangerous. It's unhealthy. And it is quite damaging to both the social fabric of our society as well as to democracy and freedom. And so I want to ensure that we stop this in Jamaica and make Jamaica that one country that stands up to its government and stop it from pursuing this path of force and fraud against their own people. And so I'm not against the medication. I'm against the approach taken by government. And I am also for other forms of medication. There are many other forms of solutions that the government chose to ignore and even block in some cases, blocking people from accessing these things, and blocking free speech, blocking doctors and scientists from freely sharing, what they know about this disease and what they know about solving it. And so for me, that puts a big red flag, a scary, big scary mark on the solution they're proposing. Because if you need to bribe people, force people, coerce people, trick people, deceive people for them to take a particular product, then that product should not be trusted, and those who are doing it should not be trusted either. Yeah. Any other?
So there's what would be the term limits in the UIC government?
Term limits. So now we're talking about governance in terms of term limits. The UIC does not necessarily support the idea of having term limits on politicians. We will entertain the discussion, but let me explain to you why. Um, One of the reasons you need term limits now is because of a very poorly designed system of governance. And so you're trying to fix it by putting term limits on the politicians to prevent them from being there too long. But the problem is not how long they're there. The problem is why they're there so long. Why does the system allow them to manipulate the people to stay there so long? So what you need is to fix the system. So the UIC system creates proper checks and balances, which then prevents them from holding on to power using nefarious means. So if you get rid of that problem, then you'll have a leader in various forms, a representative who will do well. And if And if the members of the society or the constituency wants to return them, then that's fine. But our system removes the possibility for those persons to manipulate the system to hold on to power. So that's our way of approaching this.
So, someone wants to know what is your first course of action when you get in office?
A beautiful question. So when the UIC is elected, hopefully sometime between now and 2024, our first course of action in office will be to pursue a change, a replacement of the existing constitution. So we're going to give Jamaica a brand new constitution that reflects the will and desire and vision and mission and purpose of the Jamaican people. It will remove the relics of colonialism, the Queen and her Governor General that cost us over $250 million a year. It will remove the prime minister and opposition leader. It will give us an elected president that we, the people, elect directly. It will give us a vice president for each of the counties. It will give us uh, an elected Senate. Right now, the Senate is appointed by the opposition leader and the prime minister. So they're merely puppets for the most part. We're going to change that so that your senators are directly elected. And we're going to have only 14 instead of 21. We're going to make ministers of government qualified and competent persons, which are no longer an appointee of the prime minister, but rather elected through a transparent process where the president or the executive branch nominates them, the Senate vets them publicly, and the House of Representatives then elects them. This gives them protection and tenure and gives us quality persons and remove the arbitrary nature of the appointments that take place in that position. So lots of changes that's going to be very, very good for Jamaica, very fundamental, very effective at eliminating corruption, making Jamaica a safe place, making Jamaica a very clean country, a very orderly country. And one of my most important elements is dealing with the regulations that protects big businesses while suppressing small business. So the UIC is going to flip that. We're now going to protect small businesses. We're going to give small businesses a great opportunity to succeed. We're going to invest in entrepreneurs. We're going to invest in the small man. We're going to make life easier for him, the cost of doing business easier for him, access to capital in the banking system easier for the small man and woman who are trying to build their small businesses. So Jamaica is going to become a very small business friendly country, a very entrepreneur friendly country. And so now the smartest among us will no longer be impeded by political roadblocks, by gatekeepers in the political system. They're going to have immediate access to being innovative, creative, and productive so that we can have a very, very productive country with very strong economics at the grassroots level. Yeah.
Um,
So,
they want to know, how do you feel about your court case?
oh, how do I feel about my court case? Well, so far I'm quite optimistic. It's not going to be easy. We have so far done what? We had our first meeting with the court on the 7th of October. So that was the first hearing. And during that hearing, we presented arguments that showed that, or at least indicated, that the prime minister's approach is unconstitutional. And so he has violated the constitutional rights of Jamaicans by the way that he has gone about trying to address this pandemic. And so we're going to prove that. Of course, my next date is going to be the 13th of this month. So that's Wednesday this week. So you're all invited to come if you can. We're going to be at the Mandeville Courthouse, 10 a.m. on the 13th. And so we'll face the other set of charges that came from the Mandeville Walk for Liberty that we did. And then after that, we're going to again be in court on December 14th. That'll be back in Kingston. So this is taking a toll in terms of, commitment in time, impacting my income, impacting my business. And of course they know this, right? The goal of our government is to suppress citizens. You know, so they're still following the colonial model where you suppress the citizen, you oppress the citizens, make them afraid of you, throw them in jail, threaten them with fines. You saw where they charged, I think it was a 17-year-old, some $200,000 for not wearing a mask. So the whole idea of the government we have today and the kind of governance system we have is oppressive. It's there to oppress the masses, oppress the majority, and protect the interest of a small minority. The UIC is going to change that, and so right now I am suffering the consequences of challenging the system. And I'm very thankful to all of you who have been donating to our GoFundMe and through our website on PayPal and who have sent us cash and who have made deposits. So far, we've raised, I would think, maybe somewhere close to a million or half a million. So on the website, on the GoFundMe, I think it's like 3,500 Canadian. We had another person, or sets of persons who sent us another 3,000, and some have sent us 50,000, some 1,000. I want to thank that lady. I think she's where is she? Which parish is she in? The one that sent the 1,000. Is it from Montecade or St. James? You don't remember? Yeah, 1,000. She gave it to somebody.
Oh, Portmore.
Portmore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had one lady who sent $1,000, and I'm so thankful to her. I mean, I think she's like maybe an old lady as well, right? Or that was a different person.
Kind of a
Middle age.
middle-aged
But here's an
one.
old lady who sent some money. I think she even lost her job. Remember, there's a lady. Here's this one lady. I mean, I can't tell you her name, of course, but she did not take the joke. She decided she's not going to take the joke, and so she actually lost her job. She had to. They forced her to resign. I wish she didn't, because you should never resign. Let them fire you. Never, ever, ever, ever resign. Let them fire you, because you're going to be a part of a class action lawsuit in the end, and you're going to be able to punish these employers. Our lawyers are digging into it. We're looking at how we're going to defend people like that. So never ever quit your job. Take it. Never quit. No matter what they do not quit. Let them fire you for not taking the joke, and you're going to be able to be a part of a class action lawsuit that we will then bring on their heads and punish them and compensate you for this. So do not quit your job. But this lady,
She's in St. Mary.
she's in St. Mary.
She's volunteering in her community.
Yeah,
And so she's gathering people together.
right.
And she's also offered to print flyers in the street.
Yeah. Yeah, so there we have somebody who's making a difference. So to that not so young lady in St. Mary, you've made your $1,000 donation. You're volunteering for the UIC. You're putting together your group of 12 people, and you're printing your own flyers and distributing them. My gosh, what else can we ask for? So this is the kind of people that motivates us, that motivates me, that gives me the courage to continue when they make this kind of a commitment on their own. Everybody knows that the UIC doesn't have any money. We're not a rich man party. We're funded solely by ordinary Jamaicans here in Jamaica and around the world. And so when this lady sent her $1,000, and she sent it out of her nothing, she has lost her job because she has decided to stand up for what she believes in. And she is now doing her part to get more Jamaicans on board, to stand with the UIC, to stand up for the Jamaican people. So hats off to you, my friend over there in St. Mary, and the other lady in St. Thomas. Oh, there's a group of people in St. Thomas actually. I think I'll just say the first name. I think her name is it Yvette? I don't remember. Forgive me. I won't say it actually. I think I remember because it's I won't say it. But she said she's coming. She was a strong PNP supporter for years, but now she has thrown in her lot with the UIC, and she has printed her own flyer. She wrote to me, Mr. Patterson, here's what I want to put on my flyer. Is that okay? And I said, yes, go right ahead. She has done her own flyer. She has been to the march. I remember she was in near to the front when we were walking up, I think it was Duke Street or one of those streets. And, I gave her a palm fist, and it was such a surreal moment for both of us. And I really enjoyed my experience with the people. I didn't enjoy the part where the police arrest me, but I really enjoyed working with the people throughout this. But let's take some more questions.
But someone is asking that you encourage people to like and share the videos.
Oh, all right, everybody, like, share, subscribe, comment. What else? Yeah.
And then you can also put the WhatsApp number.
Okay, so the WhatsApp number, you can always reach us on 876-293-0812. You can say it too. Maybe I'd like to hear your voice. So go ahead, tell us the number.
Okay, you can reach us on WhatsApp at 876-293-0812.
Thank you very much. And and oftentimes, when you she is so scared. She doesn't like to be on these kind of stuff, But I pulled her up today. I mean, after all, it's one day after her birthday. She needs to step out of her shell, right? And come online and share with you. I mean, yeah. So let's see what else we have here.
So another question, someone was asking, will the UIC be nationalizing term land?
Okay, so Crown land.
Sorry.
So
Crown
somebody's
land.
asking if the UIC will be nationalizing Crown land. Well, let me rephrase that. Crown lands are already nationalized. Crown lands are held by the government on behalf of the Queen of England. That's why they're called Crown lands. And the government gets to dish that land out as it sees fit. And it doesn't see fit to give that land to the Jamaican people. It sees fit most often to give special privileges and lands and giveaways to foreign interests. And then they give Jamaicans a hard time to get land titles and all that kind of stuff. Well, the UIC government is going to do away with all of that. There will be no more crown lands, okay, except those that are going to be protected areas like the cockpit country, areas where we want to make sure you preserve the ecology and so on. But the approach we're going to take as a government is we're going to ensure that every single Jamaican family becomes a property owner. And don't tell me we can't do this, because we can. I have studied the Singaporean model, and in Singapore today, they have a 98% home ownership rate. There's hardly any renting going on in Singapore because the Singaporean people had a government that respected them, that loved them, that cared for them, instead of a government which seems to dislike poor people and continuously mistreat poor people. The UIC is going to give poor people what they deserve and what they need to no longer be poor people or low income families. So, what we're going to do is a program of getting every family in Jamaica an opportunity to becoming a property owner. But we're going to do that in a special way. We're not going to take all of our lovely agricultural lands and turn them into housing schemes. Instead, what we're going to do is build high-rise buildings in strategic locations, quality high-rise buildings, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms, with nice interior, quality designs with parks and a recreational center and libraries, uh, things that you need to have a good society, a healthy society, lovely green spaces, manicured lawns, beautiful flowers, properly paved sidewalks and streets, street lights, all the things that makes for a good quality life. Now we're going to build those and sell those to the people of Jamaica at a cost that they can afford over a period that they can afford it, to move them out of the ghettos, move them out of the shanty towns, move them out of the squatter communities, move them out of the garrison, demolish those communities, and put in their place a very lovely Jamaica, similar to what you'd see if you go to a Singapore. The lands that are left, which we're going to preserve, those agricultural lands, we're going to move back to organic farming. So we're not going to get rid of the push with the pesticides and herbicides that are unhealthy for us as humans and unhealthy for the biodiversity in our lands. We're going to shift those out and move to a biodiverse, very healthy ecology and organic farming again and make Jamaica the organic food capital of the world. That's the promise. We're going to make Jamaica the organic food capital of the world. That's going to do a lot of things. One, it's going to create thousands and thousands of jobs. Two, it's going to improve the environment. And three, it's going to bring down the cancer rate and create a far more healthier environment, healthier families, healthier children. And my God, we're going to have the envy of the world in terms of living standards right here in Jamaica because we have vision and because we respect the people and we love the people of Jamaica, and we're not going to continue to have a Jamaica of have-nots and a small minority having everything. We're going to stop that. All right, what other questions we have? What about the sports industry? Somebody's asking, Steve Lynn, what about the sports industry? Well, the UIC approach to governance is going to give the sports industry the kind of attention it needs because now we're going to have a truly market driven economy where people get to keep 90% of their income and spend it as they see fit. So they will now be able to invest in their communities, in their children, in sports arena, and giving our young people a chance to achieve their best selves. There's no better way to do that than to have a market driven education system rather than a government driven system. So, what you want to do is to make sure the government focuses on protecting the rights of children, which we're going to do. We're going to make sure every child receives the nutrition, the education, and the health care that they need. And then, because we're going to make sure the families are homeowners, they will also have a decent home in which to live. We're going to bring back family life. We're going to make fathers responsible again. We're going to make mothers and fathers feeling comfortable to live together and work together again. We're going to create a new Jamaica where the community is important again because we're going to remove the suction cup of government being this interferer and this agitator and this divider and allow the family to come back together, the community to come back together, the country to come back together, and that's going to impact everything from charities to sports to social development to the arts and entertainment. We're going to have a vibrant Jamaica again where the citizens are the leaders as opposed to this one man done thing where you have this government and they want to control every area of people's lives. We're going to return the control to the people of Jamaica once again through the UIC system.
Two questions.
Yeah.
So one question was, how would you improve healthcare for those who can't afford it?
How would we improve healthcare for those who can't afford it? Very good question. The UIC approach to healthcare is very different from the one you see today. First of all, you will never ever again hear any comment such as free healthcare or free education. Now, don't be alarmed. Listen carefully. We do not want the mentality of freeness to continue in the minds of Jamaicans. We want every Jamaican to know that each and every one of us must work, be productive, and contribute to the quality of the country that we want to have. Now, to do that, we're going to have a few things done. One of them is to protect the rights of children to nutrition, education, and healthcare. So, no child left behind, no child not receiving the nutrition, the education, or the healthcare that they need. But we're also going to have a workfare program where no adult is left behind. So, all adults will be required to work if they can work. Once you can work, you're required to work. So you're not going to have children and leave them on the state to take care of them. Instead, what you're going to have is you're in an unfortunate position. The government is going to help you to be in a productive enterprise so that you can contribute to the cost. Now, there are going to be some of us, for example, the aged and the disabled, who can't take care of themselves. Now, those we make sure they're paid for. So the hospital system will be a private system, so to speak, or rather, I should say, a public system, a truly public system. So it's now going to be run by the communities, by the public. The government will operate as a regulator. And I'll tell you why that is important. When you have the operator and the regulator being one and the same, you don't have proper checks and balances, and you don't get the quality that you need. So what you want is a quality healthcare system, the government monitoring and regulating to make sure it's delivering what it said it's supposed to deliver. Make sure that customer rights are being protected, so nobody goes to the hospital and dies on the floor anymore. Nobody gets turned away because of this and that. So instead, the government focuses on protecting the rights of the consumer, the rights of the citizen, and then now pays for those who can't afford it. So the poor or the indigent or the disabled, they are paid for, but the government doesn't run the system. So the system can now be very efficient, it can be market driven, it can be customer friendly, it can be healthy, clean, decent, and well regulated by the government, but not run by the government. Very important you understand the value that will be achieved by having such a system. And we're going to do the same thing across the education sector as well. So it becomes more optimal, more efficient, more effective, and the government plays its role as a regulator, as a monitor who pays attention while protecting the individual rights of citizens and the sovereignty of each individual. Yeah.
So in addition to that, someone is asking how you deal with people who can't work.
Right. So as I said before, persons who cannot work, they'll be taken care of. So if you're disabled or elderly, you're going to be taken care of, especially from a legacy standpoint. But going forward, what we want to do is to get everybody into a responsible mode. So, like young people today will be trained now to be highly productive, to invest in health insurance for parents now who are able and productive to invest in education insurance for their children, and so gradually you're going to move to a more and more and more very responsible society, a more educated society, a more affluent society, similar to what was achieved in Singapore. We've learned a lot from the Singaporeans because they have figured out how to stifle corruption and advance productivity while protecting individual liberty. Of course, they're not perfect, so we're building on that. We have learned from the Singaporeans, we have learned from Sweden, we have learned from Netherlands, we've learned from Germany. For example, Germany, we borrowed from them the program that we call the Youth Employment Program. So what we do now, no child leaves high school and don't have a job. So if they leave high school and they're not going to college or university, they immediately go into the YEP program, Youth Employment Program. They get a full-time job that they have to wake up and go to every day, reporting to a boss every day, following the procedures every day, learning to interact with people, learning to be a part of the planning process, design process, scheduling process, production process, and they're going to be in that program until they either leave for university or leave for a particular trade program or find a job of their choosing. So we're going to starve the gangs. So there'll be no more young people available for the gangs anymore when the UIC is elected. We're going to take them all off the streets. In addition to that, we have the works program, which we call the work fair program. Now, these are for adults. So they're no longer kids. They didn't just leave school. These are adults now that we find when we become government, and they're just idle. They're just there on the corner street or whatever. Now we're asking all adults to be accountable. So we're going to have a work fair program. So if you don't have a job and you're not contributing to society, you're enrolled in the work fair program where you now get a job, you now have an income, and you have to be productive, you have to be a part of the process, except you now find for yourself a job elsewhere or you go back to school, then you leave the program. So we're going to really make Jamaica a very safe country by taking people away from idleness and away from the gangs and into a structured program that helps them to be highly productive and industrious.
We're talking about a safe country. For the people wanted to know what is your approach in reducing crime?
Crime.
How are you going to deal with it?
Right. So everybody wants to know what is a political party's crime plan. We have an anti-crime plan, and our anti-crime plan is everything I've just been describing to you. What many governments fail to understand, you see, is that crime is not solving crime or solving the crime problem is not just a matter of you locking off a community and putting roadblocks and putting police around it and having guys run through with jeeps with guns and hunting down criminals. That is not a real crime plan. The current government has tried that, it has failed. The previous government has tried that, it has failed. We need to have a proper plan, and our crime plan is an economic plan. Our crime plan is a community development plan. Our crime plan is a property ownership plan. Our crime plan is education, healthcare, and nutrition for our children. Our crime plan is a Jamaica that has good governance, that eliminates corruption. Our crime plan is to make sure that we have an environment that is conducive for people to succeed. When you make Jamaica an environment where people can succeed without connections, without political favors, that's how you diminish crime. Now, of course, you also have to separate the politicians from the criminals. And right now, we have in Jamaica a situation where we're asking the fox to guard the hen house. We're asking those who have built the criminal enterprise to stop the criminal enterprise. We're asking those who have allowed guns and ammunition to cross our borders with ease to stop the crime problem. We're asking those who use gunmen and criminals to win elections to stop the crime problem. You can't do that. You cannot ask the people who have created the problem to solve it. They have no vested interest in solving it. But the UIC is committed to solving not just the crime problem, but the economic problem, the social problem, the justice problem, and because of that, we will in effect solve the crime problem, because the crime problem is as germane now as the family. It is right there with the mothers that came out of school with improper education, the fathers that came out of school with improper education. Most schools in Jamaica are failing schools. The vast majority of your children leave without 5 subjects. Most do not have math or English. Most cannot reason. Most cannot analyze. Most cannot communicate effectively. Most cannot compute effectively. And if you can't analyze and compute and communicate, you're not fit for regular work, but you're fit for the gangs. You're fit for crime. So we have to make our people fit for productivity, fit for work, fit for innovation, fit for entrepreneurship. And by making them fit for that, now you start to reduce crime. So you can't do these little one-off things like, paying billions of dollars for police to run up and down and block roads and check people in their car and call their friends and say, "Oh, okay, so now you're going to drive the other way." Seriously, that can't work. Nor can we have a police force which doesn't respect the people, doesn't become a community engager, doesn't become a part and fabric of the community that the children respect and look up to and expect to get anywhere. So we have to change from a police force to a police service where the police now respect the citizens and are there for the citizens, and where the police sees each citizen as sovereign and respect their sovereignty and not see them as something they can boss around and beat up and throw in a prison. All right? Sorry, I'm getting a bit heated. Next question.
So the policeman asked, how would you improve the police force and would you
Ah,
have better weaponry and resources?
okay, so a policeman is asking that. So we're going to change the police curriculum first of all. So the training is going to change. The attitude and approach to policing is going to change. We're going to move more to community policing. We're going to also ensure that the police has the proper gears that they need. First, even their work environment. Do you ever see where the police work? The police stations are horrible. Most of them are old and dilapidated. So even the work environment for the police is poor. You also have to make sure the police is properly compensated. You cannot have those who are responsible for protecting the lives of every other Jamaican and enforcing the laws to be low income, low paid persons who are now, going to engage in things that they shouldn't engage in. So the police must be well treated, well trained, highly educated. They must have the psychological assessments done to see if they're fit for service in the area. They must have the tools that they need to work with. Huh? Yeah, so Mrs. Patterson, I hear they can't see it very clearly. So, my chair is so big, so it kind of keeps it. Okay, come closer to me. Come closer, closer. How is she now? Is that close enough? Let's see. How's that? Any better? So yeah. So thank you for that, for letting us know that you can't see Mrs. Patterson very well. Yeah. So any other questions? What do we have?
Well, someone wants to know where you're going to get the money from to accomplish all of this.
That is a good question. No, seriously, that is a very good question, and it's one that is normally highly misunderstood. But hear me carefully. Right now, the Jamaican government takes in over $850 billion approximately in revenues. Okay? We have no shortage of money in Jamaica. What we have a shortage of, we have a shortage of good leadership. We have a shortage of accountability. We have a shortage of um, managerial competencies. We have a shortage of love for the people. Now, I'll give you one example of why I say this, okay? If you go to the Prime Minister's home right now, or any of the MPs that have been in politics for a while, the vast majority of them, they live in beautiful, luxurious homes. They understand the need to have a good, nicely paved driveway. They understand the need to have nice grass and lovely flowers. They understand the need to have a lovely wall around their premises. They put in lovely tiles in their homes, nice chandeliers, beautiful ornaments. They know what beauty looks like. They know what clean looks like. They want it for themselves, but they don't want it for you, the people of Jamaica. So because they are so disconnected from what is required for the country and what they want for themselves, they don't build a Jamaica that is optimal. So they waste your money. For example, they focus on giving jobs to their political supporters who help them to win elections, as opposed to making sure that Jamaicans are productive. So what's happening? A lot of our tax dollars are being wasted. So the money is just being stolen left, right, and center. You have persons getting up every morning doing nothing at all and collecting $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 for the month. Okay, they've done nothing at all, nothing at all. You have some persons taking $1 million a month, okay, and they're adding no value at all to society. They're not doing anything productive. They're not causing one item to be exported from Jamaica. They're not causing one child to be more highly educated. They're not contributing to scientific research and development to improve our nation so we can tackle diseases or whatever. They're doing nothing at all except driving a lovely car, wearing a lovely outfit with a nice tie or dress, lovely expensive jewelry and shoes and stockings, and they're going to meetings occasionally and just spewing some hot hair, and they're sucking our tax dollars, just sucking our tax dollars, sucking. They're building bigger and bigger houses. They're buying more and more property. They own more land than anybody else, and they keep expanding and just sucking monies out of us and not contributing to the economic. So we don't have a short. All the things I'm telling you, all these things I'm telling you we're going to do, we can do them. We have the money for it. We just have to decide that we're going to stop allowing that money to be stolen and put that money into the Jamaican people, so that in your community, in Shiloh or Balaclava or Santa Cruz or Braze River or White House or Give 'em a Bit in Clarendon or Raytown in Kingston, that your community have proper sidewalks, proper streets, proper street lights, proper community center, proper libraries, uh, green spaces for your children to play and for you to go out on a Sunday afternoon and enjoy a nice picnic in the park with beautiful flowers and grass and play areas and stuff. We can have those in Jamaica. The only reason we don't have them is because our politicians is thieving our money. And when I say thieving, I don't mean just you know just taking it like that. What they do, they create structures, they create boards, many boards, positions on boards, many positions on boards, and they use this to buy favorites to win elections so that they can continue to have power to be able to borrow money in your name, steal some of that money, and then force us to pay it back. We'll pay it back with crime. We'll pay it back with bad roads. We'll pay it back with bad education. We pay it back with bad hospitals. We pay it back with bad policing. We pay it back with dirty streets. We pay it back with potholes. We pay it back with many accidents caused by people trying to dodge a pothole and licking somebody off the sidewalk or crashing into somebody. We pay it back in all of these ways, while they, a small minority, 5% of the nation, enjoys luxurious living. They live on the hills. They drive up into their lovely mansions with automatic gates that they drive into at your expense, at my expense. When we pay our 15% GCT and our 17% payroll taxes and our 25% income taxes and our gas tax and our import duties, when we pay all of that, they take that money and make themselves lovely and happy and wealthy in their secluded communities, in their standoffish communities. They make their friends rich with special deals behind the scenes, special authorization, special exemptions, while the majority of the people who actually go vote for them, the poor people who don't realize that I'm a trick them, and they come at election time and give you the $5,000 and give you the cap and give you the T-shirt, and then leave you in misery for the next 4 years while they have eaten and stolen your hard-earned money. So we don't have a money problem in Jamaica. All we have is a governance problem. Bad governance instead of good governance. But you might have some other questions for me. There are many questions I see coming here as well. How will you stop your members of parliament uh, from doing the same things? Very easy. Well, I shouldn't say very easy. What I mean is that we have a solution. Uh, the current system, if we got elected, the UIC got elected, and tried to operate in the current system, it would be very hard to stop my own ministers and members from not corrupting and stealing and so on. If I kept the same system, that's why the UIC is built on the premise of changing the system. There's no point in electing the UIC if all we're going to do is go in and occupy the same system as the others. If we went and did that, it will be very, even if I mean well and want to do well, it is going to fail, which is why the UIC is going to change the system. We have a new model, a new design with proper checks and balances that will separate the Senate from the House and from the executive, and therefore cause them to hold each other accountable. We're going to make the justice system more accessible to the poor, to ordinary Jamaicans. By we're going to make the justice system or the judiciary give them more powers to be able to audit and drill down on any failings of the government. We're going to put better controls and checks and balances. So it's key that we focus on the system change, not the niceties. Anybody can tell you they're going to fix education, fix healthcare, fix this, fix that. But what we're telling you is we're going to fix the system. And I'm telling you how we're going to do it. We have the changes layout. Go on our website, uicjamaica.com, and you will see that we have the changes all outlined. And if we make these changes to the system, it fixes many of the other problems and put your country in a solid position going forward. Yeah. It says Barbados is to be a republic. Will Jamaica finally become a republic? No, Barbados is not a republic. Let's get that straight. Barbados is not a republic. All Barbados did was to replace the Queen of England and the Governor General with a president. That is not a republic. It is not a republic to simply have a president, and that's a lie that they have told us, and they have tricked us into thinking that republic means having a president and not having a monarchy. That is fake. Just like most of what they tell us is fake. When they tell us about democracy, it's fake. It's not a true democracy. When they tell us about we have freedoms, it's fake. It's not true freedom. It's freedom subject to their will. So, Barbados is not a republic. A true republic is a nation with a constitution that protects the individual sovereignty of every member of that society. That's a republic. Listen carefully. A republic is a country with a system or constitution that fully protects the sovereignty of every individual. So right now in Barbados, the government can still infringe on the sovereignty of the individual, which means Barbados is not a republic. The UIC is going to make Jamaica a real republic. The government will be there to protect your right to your life, your liberty, and your property from anyone who wants to use force or fraud to take them away. And the Constitution will protect you from the government so that the government cannot do that to you either. When you have that, then you have a true republic. And so, yes, the UIC is going to make Jamaica a true republic. And I'm looking forward to that.
Talk about farmers. Your plans for farmers.
The plans for farmers. So, the plans we have for farmers is the same plans we have for every Jamaican. We're going to give farmers an empowering environment. We're going to give farmers an environment that empowers them to achieve their maximum potential because of non interference by the government and support and guidance by the government. So they're going to get the support that they need, the guidance that they need, but not the infringement on their rights by the government. So now instead of the government trying to tell you what to do, it's going to give you the capacity, gives you the access, give you the enabling environment to be an effective and successful farmer, entrepreneur, businessman, teacher, doctor, chemist, carpenter, whatever you are. We are not going to single out any particular groups for special benefits. We're going to give all Jamaicans equal opportunity, equal rights, and equal justice to achieve their full potential. Now, farmers are going to have the benefit of more lands available to them and the government that puts in the infrastructure so that they can do farming quickly, efficiently, effectively, and produce, can, package, and export very quickly. Yeah.
So someone wants to know if Mr. Holness can be removed now.
Can Mr. Holness be removed now? Yes. But that would require all of us to get up and say now is the time. So the way the system works now, from a legal standpoint, a constitutional standpoint, the prime minister has been, or the party, or the MPs have been elected for 5 years, and the prime minister is given the authority to call elections whenever he or she deems fit before the 5 years is finished. However, if the MPs, a majority of the MPs in the House, say they have no confidence in the Prime Minister, then the Governor General has the authority to remove him from office if a majority of the MPs say they no longer have confidence in the Prime Minister. But bigger than that, you and I have the power to remove the Prime Minister, but not in an easy way. We can rise up and actually take to the streets and lock down the government and lock down the country and demand that the prime minister removes. But you'd have to be as brave as I am to do that. And I find many people don't have that level of bravery, which is unfortunate. I want us to have that nanny spirit again and Paul Bogle and Sam Sharp spirit, and Marcus Garvey, and get up and say, hell no, Andrew Holness, you do not have the power over me to force these things on me. And we take to the streets, we march. I mean, pack up the streets, I'm talking like having a million people, right? I would want to have a million of you with me. And we march down a garden house and surround that place and make any police try to touch us now. And we march down there and lock down the parliament and force the prime minister to resign. Yeah. Now, of course, that's not the constitutional way. But I'm saying if you want it to happen, that can be done. And our next step, of course, would be then to force him to call an election, and we elect UIC members of parliament, and we go in and clean things up, throw out the colonial constitution and all them foolishness there, and set up a truly Jamaican constitution that is built by the people for the people in the best interest of all the people. Yeah. All right. Any other question?
I backtrack to this one. How
Yes.
about flat tax across the board?
Somebody's asking how about flat tax. You must have been reading our manifesto. The UIC is going to get rid of all taxations except two. So we're going to get rid of all taxations, and there are going to be only two taxes in Jamaica when the UIC takes over. Right now, you don't realize it, but the government takes a lot of money from you in taxes. Everybody in Jamaica pay taxes. You might have heard it said that some people don't pay taxes. They tell you, poor people don't pay. Everybody in Jamaica pay taxes. Everybody. Every time you go to the store to buy something, you're paying at least 15% tax on most things you buy. So the poor are paying taxes like crazy. If you have a piece of property, you pay property taxes. If you buy anything that comes into Jamaica, which is almost everything, because we're becoming less and less productive. Because of these two parties, we're becoming less and less productive. So Jamaicans are producing less and importing more. When you import, the government charges a huge import tax on those items. Okay? If you buy a car, you pay at least 50% of the car to the government in taxes. A can of beans come in, they slap duties on that. So you are all paying taxes in the goods that you buy, plus on top of that, you pay another 15% tax sometimes in GCT. So the government is taxing you like crazy. Okay? The UIC is going to change that. We're going to reduce taxes to simply having two. So no more property tax. So you will never again have to pay property tax on the UIC. We're going to abolish property tax. And I want to tell you why that is so important. Why is it so important that we abolish property tax? Property tax is a very evil tax, is it? It means you never own the property. You're paying rent forever on something you thought you had bought. So you buy a piece of land and you build your house, and you're paying a rent for that property for the rest of your life. That is cruel and inhumane, especially when you think of senior citizens. So, as a senior citizen, as you get older, your income earning ability is getting less. For most of us, and there's some rich people, different story. But for most of us, as you live, your earning capacity, you get this, like right now you're getting older. So, so as you get older, you're going to earn less, unless you're rich and have some big stocks and whatever. But most of us. So your income is going down, but you still have to find this. And guess what? The property tax is normally going up, which is very stressful. So here you are, you're an old senior living in your home, let's say in White House, St. Elizabeth, or where you come from again in Annabelle? In Annabelle, we're in Annabelle, Autumn Court. So let's say you're in Autumn Court, you're a little old lady, you're now in your 70s, and you getting less money now, you're getting little pension money, which is nothing, right? And you have to go pay a big property tax bill. That's very stressful. So the UIC is going to wipe out property tax completely. In fact, we're going to wipe out all taxes in Jamaica except two taxes. We're going to have one, which is an income tax, where everybody pays that, no matter who you are, rich or poor, young or old. You pay 10% on all your income from all sources, no matter where you get the money from. All sources of income, you pay 10% on it. Everybody. I don't believe in telling any citizen that they don't pay tax, that you are exempt from taxes. You cannot be exempt from taxes if you live in a country. A country needs taxes to have good roads, good police, good health care, good education, for you to have a decent life. So everybody must be a part of that process of contributing to it. So we're going to have a 10% income tax. Um, uh, and during that time that you pay your 10% income tax, that will cover all of the expenses for the country, all of the operating expenses. Then we have a special tax now, which is the GCT, the General Consumption Tax, a sales tax. You only pay that on the goods and services that you buy, right? And that tax now is completely dedicated to some key areas, chief of which is to eliminate poverty. That tax is a poverty fighting tax. We're going to use that tax to eliminate poverty. How do you eliminate poverty? First of all, education. But people can't learn properly if they're not nourished properly. So we're going to make sure that we nourish our children, especially those who are from low income families. Make sure they're getting good quality breakfast and lunch every single solitary day so they can learn properly. Okay? We're going to also make sure that every child gets the highest education they can attain. So as long as they're putting out the effort and achieving, they're going to be funded right through to the PhD level. Okay, so undergraduate, master's degree, trade diploma, whatever it is, we're going to bring them right all the way through to the process for them. So we're going to provide for those children. So healthcare, education, nutrition for those children. The same fund is going to make sure that we make every family a property owner. So we're going to build solid high-rise condo buildings, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms, quality bedrooms, quality bathrooms, kitchens, dining rooms, all the things that they need to have a decent life. Parks, library, recreational center, the things for them to really experience what it means to be a human being. Okay, which is non-existent right now in Jamaica, generally speaking. So we're going to put those in through this mechanism called the GCP. We're also going to use that once we phase more people out of poverty now, killing the garrisons, getting rid of the squatter communities, getting rid of the ghetto communities, and moving more people upward now, upward, very fast now, right? Into the work fair program to become productive, into the youth employment program to keep them away from the gangs, and into these high-rise, lovely buildings, and shifting the lands now back to agriculture. Here's the beauty about this now. Over time, that money will no longer be needed so much for the poor because we would have made more people no longer poor. We have that money now going to our sovereign wealth fund, which is helping us now to have a good emergency funding. If we have another outbreak of any kind of mass disease, we have the funding. For environmental protection, we have the funding. Hurricanes, other natural disasters, we have this money now storing up. And then we make sure now we invest this money on behalf of the people of Jamaica. And we take off the investment amount off the top, the earnings off the top, and give that back to the people and keep the sovereign wealth fund growing and always there to protect the environment, protect us from disasters, natural disasters, and making sure that anybody who falls again below the line and needs our help, for the children, for the elderly, for the disabled, we have that fund to help them out while we're growing the other side of the economy through the 10% income tax, cutting out the corruption, cutting out the waste, right sizing the government, and leaving more money in the pockets of Jamaicans to spend and invest and donate in ways that make sense to them, that will build a richer society for all Jamaicans. Yeah. Oh, here's a good question here. What is our plans in paying off the IMF? Well, everything I've just said a while ago will help us to pay off the IMF because one, we're going to stop the bleeding. We're going to stop the bleeding. Right now, we borrow money every year to pay our bills. We're still borrowing to pay our bills. So we're going to stop the borrowing. So we're going to stop the borrowing by making the government more efficient. We're going to make the government more effective. We're going to make Jamaicans more productive. So as productivity goes up and as the cost of government comes down, and we're capping the borrowing, we're not borrowing anymore. So productivity goes up, your tax base is going to go up. Government size comes down, your cost of government is going down. And you shift those resources into, first of all, optimizing the environment for citizens to keep the productivity level going up. And then the difference they use to pay down the IMF. Of course, we're going to have to renegotiate some things and shift some things around. Not easy, but as a CPA, I'm used to that. I'm used to dealing with large budgets. When I was director of financial reporting and control in the government of Canada. The budget I dealt with for the Northern Territory was $2 billion Canadian, which is quite a bit more, about 100 and $224 billion in Jamaican terms. So I'm used to dealing with big numbers. I understand the challenges. I understand the accounting, and we're going to do it. Not easy, but necessary. Very focused, and we're going to get it done one way or the other. Huh? Any other questions? What is that now?
With capital gains, capital income.
Oh, so wow, this person. So we have some bright people here asking some tough questions. Anyways, I hear that the UIC Vice President, well, not anymore, it's not Vice President anymore, but Mr. Devon Thompson is in the house. He's Director of Communications and Operations. He has taken on a new assignment for the UIC and make way in the Vice Presidency position for somebody who is here locally in Jamaica. Mr. Thompson, I hear you want to say a word. Is that so?
Yes, yes, I'm here. But I'm small in the screen though. I can barely see myself. How do I?
Let's see if we can change
Oh,
that.
there we are. There we
Yes.
are. I can see my big head now.
All
Yes,
right.
man. Yes, man.
So
Um,
what one?
I
What you
just
want to
came
talk
off a
about?
live. I just came
Huh?
off a live with some other Caribbean islands,
Yes.
online radio show. And I'm to be honest, I'm kind of heated now. You know, I just wanted to jump in to see what was going on because the other Caribbean islands are facing the same things that we're facing, and some of them are facing even more difficult situations. They're labeling their prime ministers as Hitler, you know. And where I am right now, a lot of people don't realize this, but I'm in Toronto right now, and I can't leave this country to go back to the country of my birth. I am imprisoned in Canada simply because of my decision to choose my bodily autonomy. Right now, there are so many Jamaicans ready and willing to come home to Jamaica, like myself, but can't for so many reasons. One of those reasons include the bad governance, which you've spoken about the solution this entire time. I haven't been listening the entire time, but I know for a fact that you've been speaking about the solutions to bad governance, right? The massive level of crime that we face in Jamaica, right? The poor infrastructure, especially when it relates to emergency services, ambulances, fire trucks. You know, how many people do you know are friends, family who's died simply because a fire truck didn't have jaws of life? The situation that we are facing as Jamaicans locally in Jamaica and Jamaicans in the diaspora is dire. The situation is dire. People are stressed beyond measure. People feel like they can't go on any longer. The only hope I have is this logo on my shirt right here. This thing here right here, UIC. This is the only hope I have of returning to Jamaica and living a peaceful life where government now bother me and stress me out, where criminal now come kick down my door, where I can eventually live a life where I don't have these burglar bars on my house. If fire start in my house, I'm not running to the lock and jingling the lock to try to get out, end up burned to death. We need a better Jamaica. You can hear my voice. I'm kind of heated right now because I'm coming from a heated conversation about what was going on. But we need it. Jamaicans in Jamaica need it. Jamaicans in the diaspora need it. Jamaicans ready to come home and change Jamaica for the better. So I'm asking the people who are watching this live right now. We need your support as a people. Listen, I am not afraid to act. It is better to act and fail than to talk and do nothing. So I want the people of Jamaica to start acting right now. Mr. Patterson made a call last week to everybody. Go out into your numbers. Find 12 individuals. Go door to door to door. Introduce them to the UIC. Tell them what the UIC is about. Teach them about their liberties. Look at the UIC manifesto on the website. It has information that no other political party anywhere in the world provides to their situation, to their citizens. So take the information, share it with your friends and family. We are facing a media blackout here. The only thing the Gleaner want to cover is anti-vax. They don't want to cover pro-choice, right? They don't want to cover anything positive about the UIC. Everything that the president said here today, tonight, everything he said last week, the week before that, 10 years ago, you are not going to hear it in the Gleaner, in the Observer, in the Star, or in these mainstream media houses. So we rely upon you, upon connecting to you via YouTube, via Facebook, via Twitter, via Instagram. But even then, Facebook is trying to restrict our content. I'm looking at the viewership right now, Mr. Patterson, for Facebook, and I'm realizing that something is wrong. Why is it that only 90 people are watching? It's normally over 100. So it is clear that the Facebook algorithms are blocking the UIC content. So we need Jamaicans to share the content. Share with your friends and family. That is the only way we are going to get to 2 million Jamaican people. I don't want to worry, because a lot of people think say, Jamaicans die-hearted, PNP, JLP. But that is a minority of Jamaicans. The majority of Jamaicans have become disassociated with politics. Can't bother for vote. Vote for what? What is going to change what we are vote for? And that is the people who we are seeing coming over to the UIC. And that is 1 million strong. So we need your support to push the message of the UIC. Share it online. Talk to your friends and your family. Pick up your phone. Go in WhatsApp. Share it. Go door to door. Because this is the only way. The grassroots way is the only way that we will get the message to the Jamaican people. And that is what I came here to say tonight.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Thompson. You're talking about something that is so crucial, and what surprises me that all my life I thought that Jamaica would be like what I'm seeing in other countries. I thought I would see a flood of people on the streets by now, demonstrating, making it very clear to the Prime Minister that don't joke with it. But the truth is, I'm not seeing that. It is like we have to push really hard to get Jamaicans to say, "I'm going to go out." And I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure why is it that we're so timid when the rest of the world is so clear. Is it that our education system has worked very well to dumb us down? I've always warned about these. Before now, 10 years ago, if you met me 8 years ago, 6 years ago, I was talking about our education system and how it is dumbing people down, how it is making us passive. I talk about the lack of political education. I talk about how our rights and freedoms are gradually being eroded. And persons probably thought I was being a madman when I used to talk about these things 6 years ago. And here it is today. We're seeing it live and direct, where it's all about to go. And people are still not entirely convinced. They're still waiting. In fact, I get the feeling some of us are waiting for a martyr. We're waiting for a crucified savior. So we want somebody to come and go out there, and then the police gun him down or gun her down, and we say, "Oh my God, that is so sad." But we can't wait for that. We can't afford that. I want us to rise up now, and I'm struggling because I am not seeing that mass swell of people rising up. The good thing is our membership, the UIC membership, have more than quadrupled in the last couple of weeks, which is good. And people are with us now. Many people are with us now, but they're not quite ready yet to get up and go out. And our political system only recognizes numbers. So you can't do a little 100 or 200 or 300 or 400. You need thousands of Jamaicans on the street for us to get to where we need to get to. And I am not saying this because we're a political party. Some people are trying to connect, the politics. This is serious. I say to the group leaders I'm working with, because now we work with group leaders from all over. We work with, Rastafarians, Muslims, Maroons, Christians of different denominations, non-Christians, atheists, all kinds of Jamaicans. We're bringing people together. And I say to them, if we achieve only one thing right now, I'm happy. And the one thing we need to achieve, one thing, even if I'm not elected to an MP or the UIC is not elected to government, let us achieve one thing. And that one thing that we need to achieve is to stop the government from injecting Jamaicans who do not wish to be injected. Right now, 70% of us have made it very clear that we do not want to be injected against our will. 70%. That is a vast majority. And the government is determined to override the wishes of the 70%. When we claim we're in a democracy, we claim that, if the majority doesn't like something, we're not going to do it. And here it is, the Prime Minister, his wife, his entire cabinet, the opposition leaders, the opposition members of parliament, they have been supporting a push to mandatory juk for the Jamaican people. Even if some of them now come and say something else, they have long stood with and allowed this to happen. And all I'm saying to the Jamaican people, let us stand up. Let us say no. It's okay for somebody who wants to take the joke to take it. That's okay with me and should be okay with all of us because that's a personal choice.
How can you? Somebody wrote there that people are afraid because the police are being sent to arrest them.
Yes.
So they're afraid for that. How do you encourage people to get over that fear?
So the way to get over the fear is to stand with us. Let us know that you will come, and then we will be there with you. If all of us say yes, when I put up a post and say, can I have 1 million of us on the street on October 22nd, and only 230 people, or how much do we have now? Maybe 300 people, right, Devon, on the post.
We have right now on this live.
Yes.
We have 411 people live right now in total.
400. No, I'm talking on my post that invites people to come out and to say
we don't
they
have
want
that
to
much.
munch.
Yeah,
Right. So we don't have. So I'm not seeing that support that says yes, I want to go out there. We should have easily 500,000 people on that post saying yes, right? How can we go out with only 30 people or 50 people or 100 people saying yes, they want it? The government must look at our website, must look at our social media page and see it blow up and see 500,000 people, 1 million Jamaicans saying, yes, me I come out. Now that gives me motivation. Now, me don't want to go out there and get locked up again with 100 people or the last time we had 500 people. No, we can't do that. We need to have 500,000 people. We need to have 1 million people. If Jamaicans are serious about protecting their liberty, protecting their rights, listen, it wasn't easy for Paul Baldwin. It wasn't easy for Sam Sharp. It wasn't easy for Marcus Garvey. And it's not going to be easy for us. We have to be willing to stand up. We have to be willing to stand up. The Gleaner Company is against us. CVM is against us. TVJ is against us. All of these big companies, they're against us because they have their objective.
Mr. Patterson.
Yes.
There are two things working against our people. Poverty is one of them, and information blockage. Poverty in that people are deathly afraid of their employers and are afraid of the government. Because if they don't do what they say, they're going to lose their jobs and they're going to be forced into poverty. And don't feel like it's only Jamaicans are worrying about that. Many in the diaspora are worrying about that as well. People live hand to mouth, right? If they lose their job for not taking the injection, they're going to fall into poverty. They have families to worry about too, So that's one of the things that's working against us. And of course, that's a planned thing. Keep people in poverty so that you can control them. So I saw somebody in the comment section talking about if the UIC is not going to buy votes, then it doesn't make any sense. Well, what he's saying makes sense, yes, but the UIC is not an organization that's going to buy anybody's votes, right? But that's how they keep you in perpetual poverty, perpetual slavery for so long, right? And that's one of the things the UIC is coming to solve. The other problem that we're facing is the information blackout. A majority of Jamaicans are unaware of what's going on abroad. And I think that makes the difference. It was only today that I saw the Jamaica Gleaner post about millions of people marching in Rome, Italy. And that was the first time I saw media in Jamaica posting about it. When these people have been marching in hundreds and 500s and millions from last summer. From last summer, these people have been marching, and the Jamaican people have been unaware. From last summer, the people in St. Vincent, in Barbados, in all these islands, been rising up, and Jamaicans are unaware of it. Jamaicans are
Devon, but
Yeah.
watch this. Even if they weren't aware of this, all of us are aware that the government of Jamaica is now the enemy of the people of Jamaica.
Yes.
The government of Jamaica has shown very clearly to the people of Jamaica that they don't care about Jamaicans. What they care about is their sales targets. So they have a sales target to juke. Initially, they said 65%. Now it's going to be more than that. Okay? So they have a target to meet, and they have been doing everything to achieve their target. They lock us down, destroy our business, destroy our children, destroy our families, destroy our economy, and now they're running us down to juke our children and to juke. They even went on a rampage recently, to juke all the street people that they can find. They offer poor people 10,000 seniors $10,000 to take it. They offer pizza. They offer lottery. They're offering gas vouchers. So our government has become the agent of somebody other than the people of Jamaica. They're not working for us. So every Jamaican should be outraged. Every Jamaican should be upset. Even if you took the vaccine, even if you took the juke, you should be outraged. You should be saying, listen, I'm okay. The person I choose to take it, no problem. A person may say that. That's fine. But I don't like what the government is doing. It is wrong. And I don't like what the employer is doing. It is wrong. And so because of that, I am going to stand with those who are opposed to this kind of draconian, tyrannical dictatorship stuff. And that's what is worrying me. Why aren't we? I have stood up, many of us have stood up, 500 of us stood up on the 22nd of September. 500 took time off from our work. I mean, I have lost, since this thing has started, if you annualize what I have lost in income myself, one income source alone is 25,000 euros per year. That's gone, right? I have lost 14 days now of work. I have lost in the last just a couple this week, right? This couple of weeks here that passed. 14 days of work. So I've had to find money before the GoFundMe comes in, going to my own pocket and pay for the legal defense, right? Before we get the money coming in from other people. Right now, GoFundMe is holding on to our money, making it difficult for us because they know they want to make sure that they put you in a vice grip and pressure you because you can't get the money that people have donated. They want to hold on to that as long as they can so that you're pressured until you're broken. So their goal is to break the people. They want to broke us. They want to demolish us. So if we can't see the present danger which is in front of us, this is clear and present danger. They want to kill us. They want to stifle us. They want to break us. They want to submit to put us in submission. They want to chain us up. Economical bondage, medical tyranny. So we, the people, have to realize that we have to fight for our rights. Nobody mustn't beg us to come out and fight for our rights. The UIC has created an opportunity. We have made it possible in an organized way. People don't know the amount of time we spend on this level, how much time we spend meeting with groups. Some people come every day and tell me what I should do. They said, "Oh, you should go and do this. You should go and do that. You should go." They don't know how much time and energy we've already spent on doing this and doing that, and how costly it is. Just imagine if all of us, even if we can't go out to walk and we're living in Canada or New York or London, and we all donated to the cause. So, yes, I can go to more places, or we, members of our team, staff, we can have staff. We don't have any staff.
Mhm.
We don't have any staff. We're all volunteers working. The UIC has one person on staff. I'm being very candid with everybody. The UIC is the most open political movement or party there is. We're so open and transparent, and still people don't trust us. They say all kind of foolishness. I saw somebody writing a while ago saying, "Mr. Patterson, the media has damaged your reputation. How are you going to repair it?" or something like that. No, the media hasn't damaged my reputation. The media can't. They can try whatever they want, but sensible Jamaicans know who I am. Sensible Jamaicans can see what is going on. So my reputation is not damaged.
Mhm.
What should be damaged is the reputation of the media. Every Jamaican should now distrust the Gleaner, distrust CVM, distrust TVJ, distrust all of these fake news outlets that are not giving Jamaicans the truth. You know who I trust? I trust Unstoppable TV. I trust Carlos Jamaica. I trust those bloggers out there who are trying to bring truth to the people of Jamaica through their blogs, working through YouTube and trying to bring on Facebook Lives and bring out the truth. I like Tanya Stevens. She gets up there and she shares the truth with the Jamaican people. She analyzes what's going on and give her view. That's what we want. I like Buju. Him not sound good all the time, and it might cause a little bit too much bad word and stuff, but him talk up about what's going on. And that's what we want. We want people to talk up. Wherever you are in your community, jump on Facebook and talk up. Write to the UIC, come on UIC TV and talk up. But guess what? Don't just talk, right? I want to see Buju. I want to see Tanya Stevens. I want to see Unstoppable TV. I want to see all of you come out and walk, come out and march. Join me, join hands with us. Let us lock arms in groups of 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever it is.
Even those who
Yeah.
have taken,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, man.
you should stress
Even
that.
those who have taken the joke, we want everybody to come out. We want mother, father, brother, sister, uncle, nephew, niece, black, white, rich, poor, dread,
So
bald. Yeah, we want
yeah,
everybody.
I'm still convinced that people don't understand the gravity of what we're facing here.
Yeah,
I plan to come to Jamaica this November, December, as you're aware, but I can't come now. Um, People probably think that I was maybe joking or exaggerating when I said that I'm imprisoned in Canada, but I'm being very serious here. Um, what America does and what Canada does, Andrew Holness follows suit. The only reason why Andrew Holness hasn't fully escalated yet is because they don't have enough injections. You see, the moment they have a million injections, inject the Jamaican people, they're going to escalate to the level of Canada. I cannot go into a restaurant. I cannot go into an ice cream shop. I cannot go into a government building. I cannot go into a plane. I cannot go into a train. I cannot go into a bus. I cannot bring my kids to a what do you call those water parks or one of those places. I cannot do any of that simply because of my health decision. In Australia, it's worse. And it is coming to Jamaica. I'm telling you right now, it is coming to Jamaica because anything that these other countries do, is that man you call the prime minister? I don't call him prime minister anymore. I call him salesman. That is what I call him, the salesman. Anything that Canada does and the US does, that salesman follow suit
and
because that salesman is bought and paid for, and he's
that's why that's why I call him a parrot and a puppet, because he cuts and pastes whatever they're doing elsewhere. He parrots whatever they say. He says the same thing. But let's be careful here. I am not even so much concerned about Andrew Holness, the person, because deep down, I am sure, you know, he has his own issues that he's working on. But what worries me the most is that many of us may simply um, acquiesce. We may simply give in by saying, yeah, well, I want to keep my job, so I'm just going to take this thing. I want to I don't want to be excluded from the bank and from public places and being able to engage in normal life, so I'll just take it. What they don't realize when they do that is that they're signing up to something that they may not fully be aware of. Once they take away your freedom this way by now invading your body, what else will they ask of you? What else will they say you need to do next? Remember that they told us before that we have this virus, it's massive, it's major, it's a big problem. And don't worry, we're working on a solution. And when we bring that solution, just take it and you'll be able to go back to normal. And they said you're going to be able to, you're not going to get sick anymore, you're not going to die, you're going to be okay. Then they say, oh, not just one, you may have to take two jukes. Oh, actually, you may still get sick, and you will still be able to pass on this virus. And by the way, it only lasts for 6 months. You're going to need a third juke. Oh, you might actually need a fourth juke. No, don't worry. We just want to get to herd immunity. What is that number? A lower number. Oh, now it's going to be higher. What's happening with Israel? They can't make it yet to herd immunity. What's happening in Singapore? They can't make it yet. Third, fourth, fifth juke. How far is it going to go? And then what? After we have given up all of this bodily autonomy, after we've given up the freedom of choice, what else? What is the next thing they'll come with and say you now need to do this or else? What are we giving into? What new form of governance are we allowing ourselves to be tricked into? Huh? Because the truth of the matter is, if you look at the statistics from last year, March, until the time they brought the solution to Jamaica, look at our death rates from the so called pandemic. If you look at the total death rate for the country, the total number of deaths for the country for the period, it did not change significantly from the previous period when there was no pandemic. So, what is really happening here? Yes, now we're hearing that there are new spikes and there are new variants. What's causing it? The truth is, most of us don't know enough about the science. Most of us know that we can't hear the truth clearly about the science because if anybody says something different from the narrative, you're fake, you're banned, you're censored, you're oppressed, you may lose your license. So we're not in an environment where we can hear the truth to say that this is a really free market of ideas and we can hear from everyone. So because it is so much oppression and suppression and coercion and censorship, we cannot know for certain what are the facts and the truth. So the fact is, with them taking away your right while suppressing you, you should be very concerned. And so right now, this minute, every Jamaican should be bursting out of their doors, wanting to push down everything, to go up a parliament and say, stop this now. Every Jamaican should be wanting to tear down the parliament door. No, I'm not talking about violence. No. I'm saying we should be so angry that we want it to stop now, and we should be saying clearly no. But guess what? The educated among us, some of them, are the most deceptive in order to keep their jobs and to keep their positions. They have joined in with the lie and are helping to tell a lie. I just saw, I don't know if you saw this, Devon. I just saw in the news where the Prime Minister's wife said, don't listen to foolishness. Nobody has died from this injection. Now, how on earth can a member of parliament, a lawmaker, state such a bold-faced lie to the people of Jamaica and get away with it?
That yeah man, that saleswoman and her salesman husband, there are some very wicked people.
How
Very,
can they
very
get away? Well,
wicked.
how can they get away with it? Where is the journalism? Where is the journalist to say, hell no, You can't say that. That is not true. Instead, they keep calling me every day, and what they want to ask me, so why are you an anti-vaxxer? Did you take the vaccine? That's what I want to hear from me. Why aren't you telling people to take it? Why should I be so foolish as to tell people to take it? I would never recommend to any Jamaican, to any person anywhere in the world, to take a substance where the government and big media and big pharma and big money are trying to force you to take it.
But
I could
Joseph,
never, in good conscience, recommend that to anyone.
but
I
Mr.
could never recommend to anyone to take a substance where you can't hear the other side of the story because the government and big media and big pharma are trying to suppress you hearing from others who may want to tell you something about the product. When I go and buy a bottle of Tylenol, which I don't buy because I don't want to take anything, but if I go and buy a bottle of any drug, I can buy it and I can read the label. I can go online and search and say, what are people saying about it? If I want, I can hold the bottle up on my thing and say, anybody know about this bottle? What can you tell me about it? And that will be fine. Then I can be more comfortable because I can hear from anybody if they had a different experience, and if they tell me about it, I won't say a label come up immediately saying, be careful of this person. So we cannot trust a substance which is clouded by so much attempt at suppressing information, suppressing freedom of speech. We cannot support, we cannot trust such a thing. And we cannot trust a government that signs on to such a scam, that signs on to such a conspiracy against the people of their own country. I do not trust Andrew Holness. I do not trust Juliet Holness. I do not trust the Jamaica Labour Party. I do not trust the People's National Party. I do not trust the government workers in the healthcare industry and the journalists in the media who agrees with a system of suppressing freedom of speech, suppressing freedom of movement, and suppressing freedom of choice. I cannot trust such people.
So, Mr. Patterson, I want you to tell me if this makes sense. Because as I said, people are not hearing the stories outside of Jamaica. A nurse traveled to Russia. And of course, the message was, take the first injection that is presented to you. That is the message that everybody was getting.
Yes.
So this nurse traveling from Canada to Russia says, okay, I'm going to take the Russian injection. The nurse took the Russian injection, came back to Canada a month ago to go back to work in a Canadian hospital. You know what the hospital said to the nurse? Is a man, is a young man. They said to the young man, you're going to lose your job unless you take the injections that are approved in Canada. The young man said, but I already took the injection from Russia. Why can't I come to work? They can't give him a correct answer. All they can say to him is that he needs to take the mRNA now or go home, even though he already has the Russian injection in the system. So tell me something. Are these injections safe and effective or not? Who chooses, who decides what's safe and effective? If Russia creates something and they claim it's safe and effective, if India creates something and they claim it's safe and effective, if Cuba creates something and they claim it's safe and effective, who is the authority that decides that they are not? What is the science behind all of that? If I see an injection in India or in Russia I'm comfortable with, why can't I go to one of those countries and take it and come back and be protected? Are you saying the injections don't work? They just only work based on jurisdiction?
Yeah,
It
what they're saying is that they're creating a one world government. They're creating a super state. They're creating an international body where that body is not controlled by the democratically elected representative of the countries. That body is not controlled by the people of the respective countries. They are systematically taking away the rights and freedom of citizens around the world. I know this long ago that the goal is a globalist agenda. The goal is to bring us all under one dominion, one monetary system controlled by a small elite, one medical system controlled by a small elite, one political system controlled by a small elite, one education system controlled by a small elite, so they can determine what we think, what we eat, how we live, and therefore create a communist state, but not really the state that people understand communism to be, but a dictatorship, a totalitarian global state that they control everybody. And we, the people of Jamaica, if nobody else, must stand up against this tyranny. We must stand up against totalitarianism. And you see this party that is in power right now in Jamaica, they were the party that fought Michael Manley and the PNP tooth and nail to say they're opposed to communism. You remember that? And they joined forces with the US while Manley joined forces with communist Russia and Cuba. And the two of these parties killed or caused to be killed over 800 Jamaicans fighting supposedly to stop communism and totalitarianism and dictatorship in Jamaica. And I live now to see the very party that said they were opposed to communism and opposed to dictatorship right now enforcing totalitarian dictatorship in this country. Now I expect the PNP to be a part of that, and they are a part of it. But here it is, that's what's going on. And I'm serious. I mean, I wish Jamaicans understood our history and know where we're coming from and understand what's going on here. You understand? So the key thing is we must stop this government. That's the bottom line. I don't care if the UIC is elected or not. That is not the super ultra objective. I would love for the UIC to be elected for us to put in the good policies that we know, bring in a new constitution. But putting all of that aside, we the people, JLP and PNP and independents, Rasta and Ballad and Maroons and Muslim, Christians and non-Christians, we must come together now to stop this government. Put aside all of your other issues, all of your other ideologies or agendas, and we must come together as one to stop this government in its tracks, stop them from getting to where Canada is. They're close already, Devon. As you said, they're close. They just want to have enough vials, and then it's gone through the gate. But don't wait. Let's not wait for them to have enough vials. Let's not wait for them to have enough injections. Let us stop them now. Rise up now. I have done my part. I can't do any more. Okay? I can't do any more. I cannot simply get up again and walk out there and hope that you're going to follow. I need you to tell me clearly. Go on our Facebook page and ram it up, full it up. Go on our Twitter account, go on Instagram, and let Andrew see 1 million of you saying, yes, we're ready. I want to see Devon. I want to see our Facebook page full of 1 million persons saying, I am ready. And I'll be there with you. But I am not going to simply get up and go out there again and you're not there with me. That is unfair to me and it's not a good look for you. We, the people, must stand up for our right. What do you say? All of us need to stand up. It's not just about me. Let's not bother think about the politics so much, right? Let's think about making sure that we stop this tyrant from destroying us. Stop the tyrant from taking away our freedoms. Let's make sure that we wake up on the 23rd of October with a free Jamaica. If Canada wants to do it, let them do it. If America wants to do what they're doing, let them do it. But let's make sure Jamaica is an example to the world where freedom reigns, where we say we're not going to sit down and allow this man to do this to us. Let him have to go back and give them back the money. Whatever money he get from them, make him have to go give it back. Whatever agreement he signed with them, let him and them go argue about that. But we, the people of Jamaica, we determine what happens in our country. Not Andrew Holness, not the GLP, not the PNP. We, the people of Jamaica, make that decision. And we must get up and stand up and say, we will not allow this. Any employer that wants to do it, we must cause the employers to tremble. They can't survive without us, you know. All of these companies, they see getting up and saying, you know, you either take this joke or you can't take a job. There is a bluff. It's a bluff. They're hoping that you're going to cower and just say, okay, I'm going to take it. That's what they're hoping for. And it's happening. Many of you are cowering and just taking it. No. We, the people, if we stand up and say no, them can't function. If we say no more taxi in our drive, no more delivery in our do, no more checkout counter in our operate, no more production in our happen until they stop this, they have to stop. If all of us say, and when I say all, I don't mean every single one, because some are going to be cowards. Some of you are going to be cowards. You know, when Nanny was escaping and creating the Maroons and fighting the British and so on, others didn't do it. When some are trying to escape from slavery, some are saying, no, we can't escape, we better stay because they're going to kill you. And some sharks say, I'd rather die than live in this kind of foolishness. Right? So I know not everybody going to follow, not everybody going to get up and stand up. But most of we need to get up and stand up. We need a majority of us, a significant number of us to get up. There are 3 million people here in Jamaica. I just want 1 million to get up and stand up. Yes, Devon.
I saw Jamaican Carlos just come in the comment section, and he reminded me of a conversation we were having. So you see the salesman, I think he's stuck between a rock and a hard stone. You see, if the salesman doesn't do what his masters are telling him to do, you know, his Great Reset, his World Economic Forum, his American masters, I believe they have something on him, and they might release it. The stone that he's stuck between now is that the UIC now has become a viable alternative. UIC right now is the opposition to the government. Forget about the PNP. The UIC is the opposition. So you see, when the UIC becomes government, the salesman is going to have a problem because the salesman is going to be prosecuted. So you see, what people need to understand is that the salesman might not have a choice. It's either he carries out the dictates of his foreign masters or something happens. But if he doesn't carry out the dictates of his foreign masters, and then the UIC ends up becoming government, something is also going to happen. You know, he's going to face the consequences in our court system, of course. But Mrs. Patterson, I see some people asking for the WhatsApp
number.
Group. Yeah. I see some people asking about the WhatsApp. They're saying the UIC should have a WhatsApp group.
Tell them to just send a WhatsApp message to the number 2929308112. Send a WhatsApp number, send a message to the number, and you can be added to the group. But you raise a very important point, Devon. You said that the Prime Minister is caught between a rock and a hard place. And I must admit, I really don't care. I don't care what place he's stuck between because of him put himself there. So
Correct.
all he had to do is when the foreign masters came and said to him, Mr. Prime Minister, I want you to sell out your people. Sign on the dotted line and take the money and agree. All he had to do was to say no. All he had to do was to say, no, I will not sell out my people. Some have said that in other countries, and he needed to have done the same thing. The fact that he has chosen to sell out the Jamaican people tells us that we can't trust him. But a long time we can't trust him. I'm going to tell you why, Mrs. Patterson. You probably heard me say it before. Would you trust a person who is a lawmaker in Jamaica? He helps to create the laws in Jamaica and is responsible for helping to enforce those laws. But he chose to create offshore accounts to avoid the taxes that he wants us to pay. Would you trust such a person? No. Then when he became Prime Minister, one of the first things he did was to get the senators that he appoints, because the Prime Minister gets to appoint 13 of the 21 senators. The ones that he appointed, he had them sign undated resignation letters so that if they don't follow his dictates, he can then just sign the letter and say that they have resigned and remove them. So he tried to skirt the law. He tried to bend the law. He tried to manipulate the law, manipulate the senators so he would have control over them. Would you trust such a person? Of course not. Then on top of that, when he got a chance to appoint the Chief Justice, he's supposed to appoint him point blank, appointed based on the checks and balances and the process that they have. Appoint the Chief Justice. He decided not to appoint him outright, but to put him on a temporary contract so that he could have that dangling over his head. Said the Chief Justice, the chief of our judicial system, doesn't do his bidding, he could then pull back and take away the job from him. So he wanted to use that to manipulate the Chief Justice. Would you trust such a person with your government? It not finished there, so. After that, this same Prime Minister tried to push through a national identification system, a NIDS bill, that was full of contraventions of our basic human rights. He tried to push that through, and people took him to court. And the court says, no, what you're trying to do is unconstitutional. Would you trust such a prime minister to run your country? But it's not finished there. It's not finished. The same person, the same prime minister tried to move from 20 years to 70 years the rules about when you can release cabinet minutes to the public, when we can see what kind of discussion them have and what kind of deal them did make and what kind of stuff. He wanted to move that secrecy period from 20 years, which is already long, 20 years is long. And he wanted to move it from 20 years to 70 years. That means the secret deals he has made now, which is foreign masters, when he is 49 years old now, he's 49 years old, he was born 1972. We would not know what deals he made now at 49 years old until 70 years later. 70 plus 49 is 119 years. That's how old he would be in age. So we would not, did I get that right, Devon? So we will not know what kind of discussions and deals and stuff were made in those meetings until 70 years later. 70 years from now, I'm dead. 70 years from now, everybody forget everything. Okay? So this is the kind of person Jamaica has as a prime minister. We should not be trusting him, not even with our dogs, much more our lives. We should not be trusting this man even with our mongrel dog, much more with our lives. And he's the one sitting in our parliament today. Listen, this same prime minister allowed a massive amount of police resources to be reallocated to harass and assault and arrest peaceful demonstrators while 5-year-olds are being murdered in their beds, while women are going missing and turning up in shallow graves, while police officers are being shot down on the street, while massive murders are climbing right across the country, even under a lockdown when all of us are home now. It must be much easier to find the criminals because the rest of us are all home and lock us down. And while we're locked down, crime is going through the roof. While we're locked down, prices are going through the roof. Look how wicked they are. They have locked down our economy and they're punishing us and they're increasing electricity bill at the same time. Food prices are going up at the same time. Because of him, we have food shortages because he locked down farmers and farmers couldn't go and work their farm. And now we have food shortages which push the prices up on the market for our local produce, much more the imports. The exchange rate has dramatically fallen, so the cost of living for Jamaicans have gone through the roof because every time the dollar falls, water and light go up, food products go up, utilities, gas price has gone through the roof. When gas price go up, bread price go up, every price go up because fuel is what runs the economy. So he has taken his eyes off the ball. By the way, just to add, and forgive me, those of you who are watching, just to add to all of this, this is the same prime minister who promised us that if we elect him, we would be able to sleep with our windows and door opens. Instead, we have to shut them tight up. This is the same prime minister who told us that he trust me with your economy and I will give you 5% growth in 4 years. And then couldn't even give us 1% growth in 4 years.
The 5% growth is within his wealth, man.
Yes, so his wealth went up. His people
5%.
went. No, listen. No, when you hear me talking, people,
Yes,
don't
yes.
get me wrong. It's not Andrew Holness the person that bothers me. Is Andrew Holness the decisions that he made. He has shown us clearly that we cannot trust him. We can't trust him and we cannot trust anybody in his government. You see, he's willing to even sacrifice the health minister who him run up and down with and fool us with this, and then they want to sacrifice their health minister and throw him under the bus. He allowed his wife to come out and attack the health minister and attack the permanent secretary in the health ministry. They're on the same team. If they will do that to the people on their own team that they have been going around with and lying and tricking, what will they do to you and me? But I know what they do to me. They throw me in a prison, in a jail, just for deciding that I want to walk from Ward Theatre to the Parliament building that I pay for. They throw me in a jail for that.
You
No,
know,
seriously, people.
So Joseph,
Yes.
you know,
people
today.
understand
Go ahead,
what
Mrs.
you're
Patterson.
saying.
Sorry.
So go ahead, Mrs. Patterson.
We have 512 people here, and you're asking me if I would trust such a person to lead a country. And I want to turn the question back to the people who are here listening to you tonight, because I'm wondering if you are saying this so clearly, what is it that's stopping people from coming forward?
They have short memories. What happened is, and this is, and to be fair to Jamaica, one of the things that they have used to control us, they have made us poor. And so every single day, people get up just running about, just trying to eke out a living. When the Prime Minister locked it down for 3 days, they locked it down from, what was it before? They started when? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, right? And then you were open up for Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, and a half day on Friday, right? So when the Prime Minister lock you down and give you only 2.5 business days to work, people are scrambling trying to survive. And because them scrambling and trying to survive, they don't have enough time to think. Many people, they don't they can't even scratch them head. They might try, how am I gonna feed the picnic tomorrow? You know what I mean? The kids are home, they can't go to school, so the mother, the single mother, have to figure out who going to watch the picnic when we're gonna work. May have 2 days, may not get enough money to pay the rent. I don't have enough money to buy enough food, and the stress and strain. And so they take the people's mind off remembering and following and understanding what's going on. They take the people's mind off of that. So the people don't get to fully, sometimes even they're just busy at trying to see if they can figure out life. I now have to find time to remind us of these things and to encourage us now to say, let's get up and do something about it. And by God, we have to. We cannot continue like this. We have to shut this down. We have to shut down this government. We have to stop them. We have to get rid of what's going on here. So the question is asked. Somebody was asking, are you ready to march on October 22nd? I'm ready to march. Are you ready to march? I'm ready to march. I want to see on our YouTube channel 1 million people liking the video and sharing it and saying, I will march. And if I can't march, I'm going to donate. So if you live foreign and you can't come, you're going to donate to help with the cause. If you're here in Jamaica, you're saying, I am going to volunteer, I am going to march, I want to see 1 million people hit like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. 1 million Jamaicans, wherever you are in the world, or non-Jamaicans who want to support us, because the other day a lady who is not even Jamaican, and a gentleman as well, a couple people sending money to help, which is good. But I want to see 1 million of us like and subscribe the YouTube page. 1 million of us like and subscribe to the UIC page. 1 million of us like and share the message on our page that says we need to march on the 22nd. How many are going to stand up and say yes and say, may I come and may I bring 5 people, may I bring 10 people, may I bring 20 people, may I bring 100, whatever it is. Let me see that you are willing to put your life and money where your mouth is. I put my life and I put my money where my mouth is. I want to see more Jamaicans get up and stand up and say, I am willing to put my life and my money where my mouth is. That's what I need to see for us to march on the 22nd. If I don't see that, I'm not marching on the 22nd. I've already done it. I'm not do it again unless you are with me. If you're not with me, I am not going to go up here again.
Can you get a vote?
And
That on well, that's what I'm saying. Like everybody who are saying yes, like that's how you vote. Like the what we're doing here now on Facebook or Twitter or wherever you're seeing it. Like it and share it, and then type a comment to say yes, I'm with you. You know, yes, I'm with you. Yes, I'm ready to march. Right? Yes, I'm ready to march. And if you're not able to march because you're not here in Jamaica, say yes, I want you to march, and tell us that you're going to donate. So yes, I'm going to donate. Yes, I'm going to donate, and like and subscribe and share, like and subscribe and share. My people, if you don't do it, nobody's going to do it. There is no Messiah who is coming. There's nobody else. If we don't do it, nobody else not come. No foreign country not coming to save us. All of them want us to fall in the same pit. Justin Trudeau in Canada and Biden in
don't
America,
even want
all of
to
them
hear
want the
about
same
Justin
thing.
Trudeau. Oh,
Justin Trudeau. These guys all want the same thing. They want dictatorship. They want control. They want to know that they are going to control our lives and take away our freedom and dictate to us what goes into our body. They want us. What does it say in the Great Reset? What the Great Reset say? You'll have nothing and be happy. That's what it said.
own nothing and be happy.
Yeah. Own not so. Listen up. When the UIC talk about the three things that we want to protect, which is life, liberty, and property, we're serious about it. If you don't have control over your life, if you don't have liberty, and if you don't have property rights, you have nothing. Property rights is important. That's why the Great Reset people at the Global Economic Forum, they want to take away your property. They believe that you must be a feud, you must be a slave. Slaves don't own property. Slaves depend on their masters for sustenance. The master said, here's a drop of clothes, here's a drop of food, here's a little area you can live in. And the master said, when you get up in the morning, what work you going to do, and so on. That's what they want to bring us back to. They want to bring us back to slavery in a nicer looking way, where they give you an affordable home, a little box that they say. Did you see the box we saw the other day? I was driving on Mandela Highway. They talked about doing a housing project there on. My God, it's a little box they're giving the people, a literal little box about housing. And then they're going to come and show off and say how they build how many houses. You know what they did, Devon? They build these little boxes and charge the people a whole heap of money and thief the difference because those boxes are not worth half the money they said the boxes are for. You understand? A little box, literally, it looks like about maybe I'm going to guess. I don't know for sure, but looking at it, I'm seeing maybe 20 feet by 20 feet. You understand? And that's the box with one little door, two windows. And guess what? They share a wall with another little box over here. So two little boxes. And they're going to charge you a bag of money for it when, my God, man. But anyways, their mission, their purpose is to enslave us. They want you to depend on them to get a livable wage, whatever they decide a livable wage is. They want to say, here's your livable wage, okay? Here's where you can live. Here's what you can eat. Here's the medication we allocate for you. Here's the time you must wake up in the morning. Here's when you must go to bed. Here's what you can do. Here's the program for your kids. Here's the education you can have. And they want to robotically put you in a straitjacket that they turn on and off. They want to give you a digital currency, not because they care about you having flexibility and so-called, what they call it, financial inclusion. It's trickery. They want to give you a digital currency so that they can control you. They can say, okay, you're not behaving yourself, we turn off your money. Turn on if you're good, turn off if you're bad. So you protest Joseph, turn off your money. You will not have access to your money because you've been a bad boy. You're protesting the government. We're going to turn off your money. Oh, you have kids in school, we're going to turn off your kids. They can't go to school because you've been a bad boy. They want to bring in China style social credits. If you behave yourself, then you have access to do things. That's the green passport, right? And the so-called vaccine passport. This is a prelude to full-blown slavery of a different nature. It won't be with whips and it's ugly and you tear up clothes and whatever. It's going to be a nice-looking slavery, very nice looking, but you're a slave nonetheless. You must follow orders and you must stick within the regime. And if you don't, we're going to deal with you accordingly. People, this is serious. This is not conspiracy theory. This is conspiracy fact. There is a conspiracy, and the conspiracy is to take away your freedom and to control your lives. That is the conspiracy, and it is a fact. As a matter of fact, if you had the time and were so inclined, I could show you the conspiracy theory that has kept most of us poor for years. Just the monetary system alone is a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy to defraud you. Every dollar you them printing is stealing your wealth, your purchasing power, every single day. That is a real conspiracy that I know about. I fully understand it. It's not like the vaccine. I don't fully understand the technology of the vaccine, but I fully understand the technology of money. I fully understand how they're stealing your money every single solitary day. I understand why, as you get poor, you will not be able to keep up with the cost of living and you're going to suffer. I understand how they're stealing your retirement savings. I understand why is it your mortgage period is growing from 5 years to 10 years to 25 to 30 to however many years. Because it's a trick, it's a lie, it's a deception, and they're stealing your wealth and stealing the value of your hard earned effort every single day. That's a conspiracy, and it's not a theory, it's a fact. The same thing is happening with this medical tyranny right now. And by the way, that is also economic. It's all about slavery. It's all about the few being able to extract the wealth of the many by stealth. They divide us, they distract us, and then they extract our wealth from us. That's what's going on. But I have to go now. I've spent 2 hours and 19 minutes with you. I want to
Mr.
thank
Patterson,
all of you. Yeah.
before you close out, somebody asked how we can get rid of the salesman. So Jamaica
Mhm.
has the power. I don't know if he spoke about this as yet. So this is how you get rid of the salesman.
Yes.
Use your economic power. The UIC posted something yesterday about boycotting businesses that don't have this flyer or a similar flyer at the frontage of their building. So go on our Facebook page. You can click the website as well. You can find this flyer. Everybody print as many of these flyers as you can. Go around to as many businesses as you can. Ask them the question: do you support or do you oppose medical apartheid? And if they say they oppose it, tell them to put this sign up at the front of their building, right? Because the 70% of Jamaicans who oppose mandatory vaccination will be facilitating these businesses. The ones that don't have it, then they should suffer economic ruin. And that is how you get rid of the salesman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson. I raised it earlier on, but thanks again for bringing it up because this are all are welcome sign. If you go to a store and they don't have all are welcome, hold it up again for me, Devon. If you go to a store and you don't see this sign, all are welcome, it means that that store supports medical tyranny, medical apartheid. Don't shop with them. Go to your little corner store who welcome everybody and stop helping big business to have a big impact on our lives in a negative way. So that's one way. And remember, I want to see on our Facebook page, our WhatsApp, sorry, our YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, indicate that you support the movement to march on October 22nd. If we don't have a million persons saying yes, we will not go. a million persons saying yes or donating. Either you're donating or you're coming, or both, to have the support to go out on October 22nd. Thanks again very much for your time. It was a pleasure speaking with you. And forgive me if I had a little bit of extra energy tonight, but I really take this thing seriously. And I want us to stop this government. We must stop Andrew. We must stop the government from forcing anything on the Jamaican people. We must stop them. Please don't let yourself down. Don't let your children down. Don't let history down. This is our last chance, our last stand to secure our freedom as a people and as a nation. So once again, thank you. Have a good night and God bless until we meet again.